Hi everyone! So today we're going to be looking at Lightroom and we're going to be talking about something called metadata. So let's get in here. So this is what the library portion of Lightroom looks like. Now don't worry if you don't have photos in here yet. We're actually going to talk about how to add photos coming up pretty soon here. But just want to give you a quick look. So I say we're in the library portion because we're right here in the library tab. You can see there's multiple tabs. Now in this class, we're just going to be in the library and develop tab. There's actually a whole nother class just on Lightroom. So we're just really getting into the basics. At the very top, you can see that there is the name of my catalog or my Lightroom file. That's what we call the Lightroom files, is your catalog. And some people like to work with multiple catalogs depending on, if they have a client they work with all the time, maybe they'll have a catalog just for them, or maybe you'll have a catalog for your personal work. There's some people who like to keep everything in one catalog. It's kind of a personal preference. Okay, so let's take a look over here. So starting in this corner, we have the navigator, and that's just telling us where we are looking at on this photo. If I zoomed in a bit, so I can zoom in to like 300% and then click on here and move around, and it'll move around my photo in the main window for me. And then you can also switch back to fill, fit, and kind of, get another look at your photos. Right here we have the catalog. So this is everything that's going to be in your Lightroom file. And then we have folders. So the folders are the actual folders of your computer or your hard drive, or you can't, I started this catalog just for this class, but my main catalog has multiple hard drives. Now the thing to know about Lightroom is that you're not actually, we import the photos into Lightroom so we can see them and work with them in Lightroom, but they're actually staying in the same folders on your computer. So this is so you know where exactly you are, which folder you're in. We're going to get into collections in a couple weeks, but it's basically like a folder within Lightroom. So it's not making extra folders on your computer, but it's like a little folder within Lightroom for your organization. And then we have this area of published services. We're not going to get into that for this class. Okay, so on this side we have a histogram. Now histograms are super helpful when trying to see the tones and if you don't have any light or dark areas in your image. So if you see here, you can see that there's like a little graph, and we have yellows and reds and blues and greens back there. And if you're starting on this side, this is the darker areas and this is the lighter areas of your image. So we're seeing that we have, like, for instance, a lot of blues in the lighter areas of this image, and that's going to be all of this up here. Those are the tones, right? Usually you want a nice histogram that's spread across, so this is looking good, but it kind of depends on what you're photographing. If you took a photo of a cute polar bear cub in the middle of snow, that'd be a lot of light tones in your photo, and so you'd see a lot of information on this side and not so much information over here. Now the opposite, if you took a photo of a black bear sitting on a black couch, then there would be a lot of dark tones in the image and not so many tones down here. So if you're working with an image where there should be a lot of light and dark tones, but your graph is all the way, let's say, on the dark side, then that's kind of a visual, this is kind of a visual that tells you, okay, I need to have some more tones over here. Now, if you're not quite understanding this, don't worry, it will make sense. I'm just starting to get you used to some of the terminology we'll be using. Write down, now we're not going to look at this stuff too much. We do have some quick develop, so if you have a preset that you've created, downloaded, or their own preset that you want to use, you can do it quickly here. You can also do presets in the develop module. You can add keywords to your photos. So if you, take photos of a particular client or a certain type of things, let's say Sierra Nevada, you take a lot of hikes, you can add keywords to photos and stuff in here. We have a keyword list, that's for managing the keywords, and then we have metadata. So wait, before I go into that, let me finish the little tour around here. Let's move myself over here for a second. So down here we have what's called the film strip. This is showing me everything in this folder right now, and as you can see, this is all the stuff from the first project. And down here we have different types of viewing. So if I want to see them in a grid, large like this, we can actually select different photos, see if we have two photos that are really similar, we can look at them side by side. And there's a couple more options over here that I'll let you guys play with when you feel comfortable in here. We can also sort by different things. And if we switch back over here, if these thumbnails are a bit too small, then you can actually make them larger. Whoops, here we go. Larger so you can see them. All right, now along with all these panels, we can actually hide these panels too. So if you just want to see your images, you don't want all this other stuff to look at, these little arrows will actually hide everything. So like if I click on here, now that top area is gone, don't freak out, you can bring it back. Now the arrow is there again, but it has little dots. So you can go up above it and it'll come down, or you can click on it and it will be there again. Same thing for all of these other panels down here, and you can also change the size of this stuff too. All right, so let's click on a photo, and now let's get into the metadata part of this video. All right, so first off, what is metadata? So metadata is actually information that's stored within every single digital image. Digital images are files, and so not only is the information for what it looks like in there, but there's also information such as let's say the date it was taken, the camera it was taken with, the camera settings, even the lens. So for this image here, we can see right up here under the histogram, we have the settings that were used to take this. We also have exposure settings right down here. So it was taken at ISO 32. The lens is a 5.1 millimeter lens. If you remember, that's pretty wide. f1.6 is the aperture, and then 1/300th of a second, that is the shutter speed. We have our file names, our folder, and right here we have the capture time. So I took this photo 9:31 a.m. on August 11th. Our dimensions, these are our pixel dimensions. Again, our exposure time, flash, didn't fire, and what type of camera I use. I use my Apple iPhone 12 Pro Max. And some really surprising information that you may or may not know is that our phones especially are GPS enabled. You can take this setting off depending on the phone. There's different ways to do that. But I think it's just something that's kind of surprising for some people to know that their photos have their location in it. Now this is really important because we're in this time, day and age of online dating. And so I just want you guys to know about this. So, if you start, if you send a photo to someone that you're just talking to casually online, like, hey, this is what I'm looking like, you might be sending them your exact location at the same time. So, in Lightroom, you can actually export images and take out the metadata location. I know on my iPhone, there's a way when I'm sharing the image, there's a little options area where I can click and take off the location information. It's just something for you to be aware about, so you're not accidentally giving some random person, exact location to your house. So let me actually pull this up. So if I click on here, these are GPS coordinates. I'm going to do Command C to copy, and let me pull Google in over here real quick. And if I copy and paste that in there, it is showing me a map of exactly where I took this photo. So again, just something to be aware of, something to think about. If you have kids, let them know. Don't just don't take random photos and send them or post them somewhere, because yeah, you can look up the information. Alrighty. Now, something I want to cover is in metadata is that in some situations this information is stripped. Now, a lot of times when we're posting to social media and sending attachments and emails, the metadata will actually be stripped out of the program. And part of that is, stripped out of the file. And part of that is because the site is trying to compress the information down and make it a smaller file because, you know, there's billions of people uploading photos all the time. So another thing to keep in mind with that is, yay, the metadata is taken out. Probably best bet is to double check. You could double check by uploading it, then downloading it again, bringing it into Lightroom and seeing it there. But where was I going with this? It also compresses the file down and makes it smaller. So let's say that you have a friend who took a really cool photo of you and you absolutely love it. They post it on Instagram and you decide to download it, or, you know, take a screenshot so you can print it, or they post it on Facebook and you download it from there. You try to print it and it comes out really bad, like super pixelated. It's because those files have been compressed down. So if that situation came about, you'd want to hit up your friend and be like, hey, can you send me the original file instead, or copy it another way so that I can actually print it and have a nice print. Okay, what else do I need to go over? Well, I think that's actually about it for now. So I hope you're getting excited about working with Lightroom. There's a lot of fun stuff. Yeah, actually, you can stop the video now if you want, but I'm gonna do a quick edit on this photo because I really like the photo, but there's some stuff about it that I really don't like. And this is all stuff that you're gonna end up learning. So I'm in the develop module, and there's a bunch of presets and stuff here, but you know, I'm not going to worry about presets. I'm going to make my own preset basically. So first of all, I like to start at the top up here and with the white balance. We're going to talk about white balance more later. And I'm going to look for an area that's supposed to be a neutral color, such as white, gray, or black. I know that this pole is gray, so I'm going to click there, and bam, Lightroom has looked and said, oh, you want this to be neutral, but there's a lot of blue in it. So we're going to add yellow, okay, and take away, actually add a little bit of green, take away a little bit of magenta, and now this is actually gray. Sweet. So I'm looking at my tones up here. It looks like we have a pretty good tonal range. I would say my blacks are a little weak, so I'm actually going to pull the blacks down right here. Just a little bit. And now you can see that this has turned yellow, and that is showing me the areas that have turned completely black. And it's not too bad because usually you would see something pop up, another color up here. Let me show you what I mean. Let me take this all the way black. So all of these blue areas have turned completely black. If you tried to print this right now, it would be all black ink, and look how dark that is, right? So I'm going to take this back down. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to take my shadows up. So this is just looking at the darkest areas specifically and pulling those up just a little bit. All right, I'm liking this. I think I'm going to add a little bit of clarity. And now that I'm doing all this, I'm noticing that although these flowers are nice and in focus, my actual subject is not. So that's going to be one of my something for me to work on. Next time I come downtown, I'm going to take the same shot but get my subject in focus. I mean, it's still a nice photo. It gives you a nice little vibe of the area, but yeah, that's kind of bugging me. All right, so not too shabby. Not a whole bunch of changes I did on this. So let's go back here. And there's a couple ways to do a before and after. Here we have a history of everything I did, so I can come back and click on the import and see what it looks like, and then go back here. Another way you can do this is, come on, go away, is to hit the backslash button. Oop. Never mind, it was the forward slash button. Forward slash button, and we could see a before and after. All right, so anyways, there's a little preview of what you have to look forward to in Lightroom.